good, everybody? Welcome into the Coach and Company podcast. We do this every single day to support the morning show. If you missed any of the morning show on Stadium, we encourage you to go back and watch it on demand, as we have a lot of best bets throughout the day. We've got hockey. We have college football. We have 2 NBA games. So plenty to sink your teeth into. But on Wednesdays, we normally, throughout the year, talk about college football. We go back to school, as it were. So let's bring in my guys, because we have playoff games that start remarkably, gentlemen, in 2 days. One on Friday, Alabama and Oklahoma, and then the other 3 playoff games are on Saturday. But quickly, before we get to those, and Raphael, great to have you on with us today. We're starting to see the ramifications of the nonsense of players sitting out. And tonight is one of those situations. You've got a quarterback for South Florida. What's his name? Byron Brown, Buxton Brown.
Byron Brown. Yep.
Byron Brown. Yeah. Byron Brown, unless I'm missing a different NFL mock draft, nowhere to be found on the draft boards. But yet he's sitting out, Mikey, to mull over his football future. If players are going to start to worry about a career-ending injury every single year for a bowl game, this dude should be using this as an audition, not as I'm mulling myself over. What do you make of this continued nonsense of players sitting out to avoid injury?
Coach, I want to take an opposite approach here. And instead of looking at guys like Byron Brown, I want to look at the bowl game that no one's really talking about because it already happened in Boise State and Washington. Washington was a fun team to watch this past year. Boston, their wide receiver, 9 catches, 126 yards, and a touchdown. No matter where he goes, no matter what jersey, if he wears a professional jersey, no matter what, he's going to be able to go back and look, hey, at the end of December, in one of my last college seasons, I put up a $126 and a touchdown. And that's how you should want to be remembered. You don't want to be remembered, I was going to go to this school, but they didn't match my NIL deal. And then I didn't get enough offers. So I kind of flamed out after USF.
Most players do. And that's you know, the people that scream the loudest are usually the dumbest. And if you talk to any 40-year-old Raphael who played back in college, how many I talk about my career all the time. Loved it. Scored a lot of points. My team, like, you never hear me go, man, I wish. And I wish that some of these guys had, and obviously I didn't get paid the money they are on NIL, but most of these guys aren't big NIL guys either. And they act like this $200,000 is going to last them a lifetime. And I can't get over what we need to do to tell these kids, maybe move the portal. I don't know. But to not play just seems like in your lifetime, it's really going to hurt you, not anybody else.
I just think he has the bad voices in his head. People are telling him not to play. People are telling him, hey, you know what? USF was a talk of college football beginning of the season. They beat some big teams. Maybe you can be better at a limelight in the NFL or another team. I just think the kids are getting bad advice, and they're listening to that bad advice and not listening to what they think is right.
That's the thing. I played college basketball because I love the game. I could have played college baseball. I was that good. But to me, it's about the love of the, and maybe because we're all middle age, different kinds of middle age, Mikey. But I think as I reflect that it's more about the enjoyment of playing than it is about whatever money I could have made. Or I know my career is what it is because of college basketball. And I wish more kids looked at it like that instead of what Nick Saban said, that when he would walk into living rooms, the first question is, how much are you paying me? Not, coach, I'd love to play for you. I'd love to play with this guy or that guy. And I understand that we've let the, whatever they call it, the cat out of the bag or whatever, but it doesn't mean we can't go back to where it really means something.
Yeah, and for me, I get so frustrated about the college sports conversation because growing up in Chicago, it was Big Ten and you had to go to one of the major universities. And I'm only talking about as a student, not even a student athlete. It wasn't built into my brain about, hey, you could go to a smaller school and have the best 4 years of your life. It was either shoot big or don't go to school at all because you're not going to make it anywhere. So now I live here in Southwest Missouri. I see all these commercials for these smaller schools. I go, damn it, why didn't I grow up here? I would have loved to play at a Pitt State University. And that's what college sports should be about.
That's where my sister went, to Pittsburgh State. I
Really?
was there for She
Nice.
went to the Gorillas.
Yep.
Gorillas. Yeah.
Gorillas, yeah, Pittsburgh State.
Best logo. Great. Really good logo.
I played against them in college, as a matter of fact. We had all the big Division twos: Pitt State, Fort Hays State, Emporia State. Played all of them. Played all of them in college. So it's good to hear that name again. All right, guys, let's get into the games starting on Friday night. It's a rematch from the regular season, and there was a lot that was made of the committee giving Alabama the nod over a couple of other teams like Notre Dame, to name one. But now it's a flip. And Raph, we're going to start with you because this thing is basically a pick 'em, and Alabama's going to Oklahoma. And I imagine that if they would have beaten Oklahoma in the regular season, OU wouldn't even be in the playoffs. But certainly Alabama would be having a home game. So what do you make of Alabama now having the script flipped on them and having to go to a very hostile Norman, Oklahoma?
I love that statement you just said. If Alabama would have beat Oklahoma, Oklahoma's not in this game. We're talking about a totally different matchup. This game looks so balanced, but I'm going to take defense. Defense wins this game, and that's why Oklahoma went to Alabama and won because of their defense. I wasn't sold on Alabama against Auburn. Ooh, they beat Eastern Illinois. But their last 4 to 5 games, they didn't show me anything that they can beat an Oklahoma defense in their backyard.
Alabama has been as inconsistent, Mikey, and you look at 10-3, and I think the committee said, well, it was the SEC championship, so that 3 in the loss column doesn't matter. To me, it really kind of does because of how they lost that game. They got blown out. They were not in the same game as Georgia was. To me, that should have mattered because I think some of the other matchups, those games did matter. Am I wrong on that, or what did you see?
No, you're right. And I'll look at the NFL, what we just saw on Monday Night Football. The Miami Dolphins couldn't move the ball the entire game. Tua's now benched. Miami phoned it in. They're done. Alabama could not move the ball against Georgia in the SEC championship game.
Mm-hmm.
That should have been the nail in their coffin. And the crazy thing to me is if we're all here, I know I am, I know Raphael is, if we're all here sitting and talking about that we like Oklahoma in this game, let's go back to that meeting. John Mateer, the quarterback. In football, we always go back to the quarterback, no matter how good defenses are. John Mateer led the Sooners on 138 yards passing. No touchdowns, no picks. The Alabama Crimson Tide got beat by a quarterback with less than 150 passing yards, no touchdowns, no picks. How can you even side with Alabama right now?
That's a great point. That's a lot of really, really good points right there. So we'll see. I mean, it's maybe the brand will rise up. But to me, Oklahoma is the biggest upset in this tournament because when you looked at the schedule that they had to play, it was a murderer's row.
Yep.
It really, really was. And the fact that they were able to come through with a 10-2 record was absolutely phenomenal. Let's go to Saturday. All 3 games get their own window. The noon Eastern window is the 10 seed Miami taking on the 7 seed Texas A&M. Now the Aggies, it's amazing, Raphael, how you go from best team in the country, undefeated. How do they do it in the SEC? To looking average against Texas, team that's not a playoff team. And now they fall all the way to the 7 seed to take on Miami, who had their own drama because people thought Notre Dame should have got in over Miami, or at least some did. Now they face off in College Station. Your take?
If the defending champs didn't play so good in defense, Ohio State, even though they lost to Indiana, we would have been talking about Texas A&M being a number 1 team all season long because of their defense. And now they have a quarterback that wants to say, hey, you know what? I am here. And I think he's going to show the world I am here when he destroys Miami. I'm not sold on Miami. I think this number is completely wrong. I made my number 6.5. It is still 3.5. I usually don't make a 3-point line difference when I do my own numbers. That means I need to ask for allowance to make a more bigger bet on this game. I just think Texas A&M is the better team in this spot.
It does feel that way. It kind of does. But I think, Mikey, the pushback by Hurricane backers would be that they've got a quarterback who has a lot of experience. And he had that experience at Georgia. So it's high-level experience. And I think when you get into the pressure cooker that is the college football playoffs, you want to have a quarterback that has that experience. So I think that if people that like Miami are leaning into that narrative, how good do you think Beck needs to be to pull off the upset on the field, taking the points out of it?
He needs to be better than he's ever been in his college career. There's a reason why he left Georgia and didn't go pro, coach. I mean, Carson Beck has shown that he can be pretty good. But even if they were to get past Texas A&M, bounce next round. And I'd sit here all day on that. And for the actual program, I'm going to intersect your worlds here for a second, coach. I'm looking at the Hurricanes of the Gunthers of college football right now. Nobody wants them there, right? Everyone is so mad. There's maybe a sliver of Hurricane fans who believe they deserve to be there. I believe on paper, just like Raphael, Texas A&M is the better team. Marcel Reed is so much fun to watch when it's all going good up here in between the ears. So if Marcel Reed, quarterback for quarterback, I'm taking Marcel Reed all day over Carson Beck.
Yeah, I agree with that. Nate G says Carson would also take a massive pay cut to hit the NFL. There's a lot of people like that, Nate. Arch Manning is like that. $6 million. So I never know those guys when we talk about the NIL. When you hear like Arch Manning is 6.3, is that for his whole career? Is that per year? I never know because they never clarify that. But can you imagine if he got 24 million for 4 years at Texas? That would be a different conversation. But I've never really thought about it.
I think it's actually per year because Jaden Mayava, the USC quarterback, I saw and this was crazy. The headline said he re-signed with USC. He was waiting on his NIL deal.
Oh, you know what? So Joel Klatt, sometimes when I don't have time to watch something on Twitter, I'll send it to myself. And he had a take, and the headline was, "I'm so over players re-signing with their own team." It really is the most ridiculous thing ever. It's like I'm such a loyal college guy that you go someplace like I never thought about transferring. Now, someone would have walked in and then here's $1 million, different conversation. But if you have multiple offers, we're not talking about that. And boy, I'm just so tired of it. I'm so tired of it. Just so tired of it.
Did you,
but you know what?
Joe Klatt said about the college football playoff?
What did he say?
He said we need to stop with this madness, and I think he might have said stupidity as well, of Cinderella teams in college football. It doesn't work in college basketball. We want
He's right.
The best. Take this Cinderella narrative out of the college football playoff.
He's right. Football does not equate to basketball at all. In basketball, you can have 5 really good players and you can win. Football, that is not the case. You'll never see ever a 16 seed beat a 1 in football. It's just not going to happen. And they're always going to have the 20, 25 points. It's just not going to happen. It's a nice narrative. But wait till we see what happens this weekend. I think Tulane, this next game, might be a little closer than James Madison in Oregon. But nobody's even talking about the spread. Mikey, I'll start with you. They're all talking about the storylines. It's kind of poetic, isn't it? You've got Tulane, the 11 seed, I believe, and they've got Jen Sumrall. He did everything the right way, but he's going to his biggest job. For Lane Kiffin, he's had 3 or 4 really big jobs already. So that's the first difference. But then you got a guy who gives $100,000 on his way out the door to the university to help make them better. Did Lane do that? No, he took $100 million to leave when they offered him the same. That's number 2. Then number 3, now all of a sudden these coaches that you gave the narrative to that you come with me or else. Well, Sumrall's getting all his guys, no drama. That's number 3 because Lane Kiffin and all his guys are going back. Charlie Weiss, now Joe Judge signs an extension. So, Mikey, the Ole Miss Rebels that were kind of the jilted a few weeks ago, now all of a sudden they're the gigantic baby faces heading into this 3:30 Eastern game on Saturday.
They are, and I love the story, but the story doesn't end on Saturday no matter what. If Ole Miss gets bounced, which I don't see happening, can you imagine that conversation? The more and more, let's not forget, the more and more Ole Miss wins, the more money gets paid back to Lane Kiffin for his old program success. So I look at Jake Retzlaff, the Tulane quarterback, and you've mentioned Coach Summerall. These are guys who are at different points in their career. Jake Retzlaff had to leave BYU. John Summerall is going to his biggest job. You don't think those 2 guys, the resurrection that they had this year, go, hey, let's do it one more time for one another. Let's at least make this competitive. I think Tulane covers.
17.5. Rafi, I think that you also agree with that, correct? You think they cover?
No, I
Oh,
think
you
this is
don't?
a bloodbath. I think this is a
Oh, that's
complete
what I
bloodbath.
mean, that's what I meant. I meant your opposite of that. That's what I meant. Sorry.
I
Go
think
for it.
Ole Miss. We've already seen this story. We've already seen Westcliff struggle against Ole Miss's defense. He's not the best passer, and if they can't run the ball, Ole Miss is going to stop the run. Is going to get complete bloodbath. They've only covered 3 games their last 8, and they didn't play any SEC schools. Even on the biggest Tulane lover here in the state of Louisiana, because they're the best team the last 3 years, including the Saints and the LSU Tigers. But boy, we're gonna get a wake up call. And I think Ole Miss and these boys want to show Lane Kiffin, hey, I know you're sitting there watching us on Baton Rouge. We just won another game and we're going to extend in our college football playoff.
I think that that will be the biggest reason why, if they get a big lead, that they would pound them. But I've also heard that the coaches that are in place are high, what do they call them? High quality coaches or high personality coaches. And maybe they wouldn't buy into the narrative of let's beat down this team because of who's on the other sidelines. There's a lot of discussion going on here, guys, isn't it? Because they could not. It's based off of a big point spread. Who knows? So, Mikey, as we get to Saturday night around 7 o'clock, and if you're Lane Kiffin and you're sitting there all alone in your $100 million palace down there in LSU, and you see this team, a Joe Judge who resigns, who's so excited. I love it here. Why would I ever want to leave? I felt like a lot of that answer yesterday was directed right at Lane Kiffin and the words that he used. This could be a much bigger deal than just a football team winning on the field.
Yeah, and the number one message I have for Lane Kiffin, because we know everyone in the world watches the Coaching Company podcast,
Of course.
don't put out a tweet. Don't put out a video. These players wanted nothing to do with you less than 24 hours after you left. This is not about you. Lane Kiffin, you want to know what you do? You wait for the check, and then you take it to the bank, and you say, hey, thanks. Thank you. I won't talk to you guys ever again, right? This is a divorce. It's getting ugly. Let Ole Miss have their spotlight. That's actually my biggest concern, Coach, is that if Ole Miss wins, Lane Kiffin's going to go, I'm so proud of these guys.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he'll get shredded. He'll get absolutely shredded. And I think at a level that we can't even comprehend, to be honest with you. He just needs to keep his mouth shut and just go about his business. Because I promise you, maybe I'm wrong because he does have narcissistic tendencies, but he's already having a little bit of regret because the money does not literally buy happiness when you're at the same level. He didn't go from making $1 million to making 50. That would have, he went from the same to the same. So it's going to be fascinating. Saturday's going to be fascinating. All right. Maybe not for this game, however, game number 4, and that is James Madison and Oregon. And Oregon's 11-1. Their one loss, Raphael, was to Indiana, 30-20 earlier in the season in a Big Ten rivalry game. But what we proved was they could lose. They had a couple of close calls throughout the regular season, so they haven't been dominant. But James Madison, I don't think anybody could have imagined that they would be one of the 12. The spread's 20.5. So clearly the sports books don't act like they belong either. What do you think the narrative of this game is going to be?
Man, I think everyone believes Oregon's going to blow them out. I think JMU is going to put up a really, really good game. I think they have the offense to slow this game down. That's why I'm leaning towards the under, because JMU, you need to run the ball to keep the speed of Oregon's offense on the sidelines. If they can do that, then we might have an interesting fourth quarter. And I said, I love JMU. I love the plus points. I'm going to sprinkle some money line. This is something that's going to cause chaos. And Monday we can see chaos because everyone's like, oh, I can't believe JMU beat Oregon. We were so wrong. We were so wrong. This is going to be a very interesting game, much closer than I think the bettors and public realize. I like JMU.
Here is what's going to happen. And put a pin in this audio and video. And look right at me, Raphael. The James Madison football team is going to realize very, very quickly that they are on a field with athletes that they don't belong on the field with. This field is a fast track. And Oregon, as they always do, will come out, jump out 7, maybe even 14. Halftime, they're going to be up 17 or 20. And then it's going to be one of those ugly Dan Lanning smirks on the side of the that pisses everybody off that's not an Oregon fan. And I'm here for it. I've already said 5. What did I say? 5 pieces of merch if JMU wins. I almost was going to give 7. I was like, no, I'm not going to make this easy on the people. But Raphael, 5.
JMU needs to play like Wisconsin played Oregon and what Iowa did. Those are 2 close games, and I think they could. I think it'd be a much closer game.
Mikey, is Raphael, do we need to do a home check on him?
Coach, I know we're doing the podcast. I want a double showdown here. I want to put 5 million memberships on this. Oregon's going to cover like this. Raphael, all due respect, you're right there in the dirty, and you give Tulane no shot, but you give James Madison a shot. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I understand giving the average girl the homecoming crown, but what are you doing? Oregon's going to run all over this team. Dante Moore's going to have a field day.
All over this team.
All over this team.
You guys are making like Oregon's like Ohio State and Georgia.
I'm making it 10. 10 names on the wheel of doom on Monday. If James Madison wins on the field. 10 free pieces of merch.
I'm ordering 2 JMU hats, and you guys have to wear the hats when they beat Oregon on the air.
Done. Add that to the bet. Done. Done. Okay. Anything else that I'm never going to have to do? Let me know. All right. Obviously, over the course of the next couple of days, we'll continue to monitor the numbers and any big storylines that come out. Remember, Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, and who's the other team that doesn't have to play this weekend? Texas Tech. Yes, the highest NIL team in all of the land. All right, gentlemen, well done today. Thank you both very, very much. We will, guys, don't even worry about it. We're going to do a wellness check on Raphael just as soon as the show is over. Don't worry about it. I got it. That's going to do it for now. We'll be back tomorrow, we hope, and breaking down Thursday Night Football. It's a gigantic one. Gigantic. Rams and the Seahawks, a battle for essentially first place in the NFC West. In the meantime, turn on your notifications. All the content that we do, whether it is on the BTT side or the coaching company side, we want you to digest all of it. Please, please, please do. For Raphael, for Mikey P, I am the coach. We'll see you next time right here on the Coaching Company Podcast.